welcome back to part 2 with our discussions with Kelly Marky. As we continue our discussions, we get to know more about Kelly's books, more introductions to the people that she's met along the way, and also some of her personal insights and journeys as she unveils some of her latest books.
And during COVID, I watched the country go through the plight of losing people from COVID, but also the corruption where money was given to the country to help with the COVID case, but it was used in a bad way, and people were murdered that tried to step in and, speak about it. So I talk about all of that and like how are we making decisions here and now, but also the decisions that are impacting the future generation and how that creates a world that is forever, going to impact lives. So there's so many amazing gems in each chapter that people would read it and they'd go, wow, I never thought of it that way. And it really speaks to people.
So it seems that lived experiences are really what readers want to read about.
Absolutely.
And you have such a rich experience and such powerful knowledge, and I think that combination makes sensational reading. Now, the next book is very much a very close to heart and close to home book, The Life of Jandra. Can you tell us about that one?
Wow, so this was written through, The Life of Jandra was written through blood, sweat and tears, literally. So unfortunately, I lost my brother to suicide last year, and I never saw it coming. I was actually in London for Women Changing the World Award finalist. I was a finalist and I was at the gala, and it was my brother's 50th, so he was in the throes of planning his 50th birthday, and I called my mom every day, and the last 3 video calls that I made, my brother had picked up. And he never showed me, the depths of pain that he was in. And I know that he was going through something. And I said, you know what, I can help you through this. Let me sort it out. And he was like, no, you know what, I want you to focus on what you are doing in London. Go for your award. When you come back home to Australia, we can sort it. And while I was in transit, I got the news that it was the most devastating thing. And when I reached Australia, I tested positive, so I couldn't even go to the funeral.
Oh, Kelly.
I know, I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. And I had to watch his funeral via live stream. And I went home after a few weeks when I recovered from COVID. And just having to deal with the aftermath and, pick up the pieces without getting cut. But I was cut. I'm still recovering from the pain and navigating through the trauma and the grief. It's huge. And out of that, I thought, I actually didn't feel like I could be myself again. I didn't feel like I could express myself again in terms of being creative and writing another book. But one day I found myself just crying, and I was like so overwhelmed with the pain, and I was like, how can I use this pain? Where can I channel it? And I felt like I was still feeling so raw from losing my brother that I couldn't even have that authentic conversation with him, because I felt like, why didn't you wait for me to come back home and we would, tackle this like we talked about and we promised. And then I found myself using the energy, and I thought, there's so much that goes on after a person, takes their life. And again, I wanted to offer that authentic story to the world and help people that are dealing with the aftermath, but also for those that are at that crossroad, that are contemplating suicide, what options they have. And also, I think in our culture, in this day and age, we don't address the elephant in the room. The people that are actually bullying another person, or the person that actually pushes another person over the cliff. Because when I went to South Africa, I learned that my brother sent out a few messages to people that, were treating him in an unfair manner. And he did say that, you're pushing me towards suicide. And I was shocked because they had all this data and they didn't do anything about it. So I wanted to create awareness that even when I look at the stats, and the stats says that most people that end up taking their life have actually spoken about it. So people are aware, and most of the time people do not take it seriously. So I want to bring light to the subject, that when someone has mentioned it or someone has specifically said that to you, you need to understand what the repercussions are and how it can affect someone and their life and, the family. So yeah, I wrote this book, and again, I just poured my personal experience, but also looked at stats. I looked at, the data for suicide, and suicide is a taboo topic in most countries. Some countries have criminalized suicide, so we don't even get proper data from the reporting, even on a global scale. So it's looking at all of those facets and how we can change the narrative, how we can help people. So I wrote this manuscript and I sent it out for review again, and I got the International Associations of Top Professionals in New York. The president wrote a foreword for this book, and she also nominated it for the Top Book of the Year. So I won Top Book of the Year 2024, and it's actually going to be showcased in New York Times Square in September. So even though it's reached this, I wouldn't have guessed that I would be on New York Times Square billboard. It's epic, right? But if I had to choose, I would want my brother to be here. But I can't undo that. And out of that, this was born. And at the moment, at work, my colleague was sharing with me that he went through a similar experience with his wife contemplating suicide several times. And I sent him a copy of my book, and just yesterday he said to me his wife is reading it and she's so blown away. And I was like, wow, I was in tears, and I was like, God, again, if this is just touching one life, it's worth it. So again, amazing feedback from such a, barbed topic, but such a crucial topic.
Absolutely. Congratulations on the nomination. And I haven't read this one yet, so I am interested to read this one. But what is it? Is it just about the life of your brother, or is it also the grief process that follows and then some statistics? So is it a culmination of all of those aspects?
Absolutely, it is. Yeah. So I dabble on elements of my brother's life and the legacy that, his life has left. I've also looked at proper use cases, how we can identify the signs and what to do. And also when we are in the situation, I think what happens is we all take for granted that we will never ever be in that situation where we lose someone to suicide. I did that. And sadly, I was ill prepared because we never think we have to go through it. And also when you are in the situation, what to say and what to do, what to not do, because quite often we don't know how to liaise with the person, the things that we should say and the things that we should not say, because that is critical at that time. So I walk the reader through that. It's kind of like a self-help as well. So it's going through the grief process as well. And if you want me to go deeper, also while I was fresh with grief, I had people within the church. I'm from a Christian background that I guess was more intimidated about my brand and my books and the fact that I was a writer, and I also launched a writing academy and I was publishing books. So they were throwing rocks at me, and one of the questions that was thrown at me was, where do I think my brother has ended up, in heaven or hell? And I was shocked. So I thought, okay, I'm going to discuss this topic because that's one of the key things I think Christians always question when someone takes their life. Where have they ended up? So I did analysis and research. I've also looked at it from different religions perspectives, because my readers are not only going to be Christians, so other religion, and where that lens. So it's giving people that broad array to actually open their mind and think outside the square, and how to treat someone that's dealing with the aftermath of suicide, and what to say and what not to say. And when someone's going through the grief of suicide, losing a family member, how you can be helpful, and how you can, basically know what to say and what not to say, because these things cut. It's really deep. And I was flabbergasted because I didn't know what to say. My brother wasn't a Christian, so why are you asking me this question? And I'm grieving. Why do you need to know that? And it's so often people don't realize how delicate the situation is. So this book hopefully will help to conquer some of those ignorance, and also give people a greater perspective on the subject, and also help us to make a difference in the suicide landscape.
Beautifully said. Yeah, it is about gaining perspective on handling a delicate situation like that, where people are at their most vulnerable time.
Absolutely.
and they are grieving. Now, the next book that you have for us, what have you got? Is it Echoes of Humanity?
Absolutely. So, like I said, I've also launched my own writing academy. So I publish books, and for the Markey Writing Academy, this is the first anthology. So we've got 18 amazing authors from around the world. And again, the intent here was for them to use their lived experience and bring that to the table, so humanity can learn from their lived experience. Because as you said before, people are identifying with that lived experience. And again, I've got amazing feedback in terms of the manuscript from this book, because people are identifying with that authentic story. And this book is what we're launching in New York on the 31st of August.
So it seems there's a common strength here for Kelly Marky, and that is lived experience and bringing those raw emotions and just being honest and writing about them. So it's a very authentic experience that readers have with you.
Absolutely. And, all of these authors that have submitted a chapter in this book, it's amazing. Every chapter that I've read have touched me in a profound way. And I have an author from South Africa that wrote about her experience of having 2 disabled children, and how she had to navigate the path, and with the challenges of South Africa and her own. I wouldn't give too much away from the story, but you'd have to read it. But I finished the chapter and I was in tears, and I thought, wow. And she's advocating for a better world for people that have disabilities and all of that. And I was like, wow, this is the kind of work I want to do. This is the kind of books I want to publish. This is the kind of transformation our world needs, that social change and that shift in mindset.
It's absolutely heartwarming to hear there are such wonderful people in the world advocating for that type of goodness and healing in the world. So wonderful to hear. You've got a couple more here. We're going to quickly fly through them. What are these books here on the side?
Absolutely. So these 2 are like timeless journals. Mm-hmm. This one is a legacy playbook. So I actually was asked to write a blog for a coach in the UK, Jay Shetty coach. And from all those blogs, I had amazing feedback. So basically what I've done is package those and gives the reader a profound sense to leave a legacy, not just go through life with no intent or purpose, to kind of get that broader vision and what legacy you'd like to leave behind. So all those articles kind of open that conversation.
Last book, what have we got here?
Yes, so this is a timeless journal called Glow, Glean and Grow. And again, I had the editor of a magazine that wrote the foreword for my first book, Don't Just Fly, and she again read that book from cover to cover in like 2 days, and she was like, wow, I'm so amazed by this experience that I can't put your book down. And she's like, I'd love for you to write for my magazine. And I wrote for about a year, and I had amazing feedback from those articles for the magazine. So again, I packaged it as a journal, and it's out there for people, to use whenever they can, because it's not dated. You can pick it up at any time and just walk through that, and it's experience again that will just enrich your life.
The world is truly blessed for having Kelly Marky in it, because you have gifted us with magazine articles and blogs that coaches can use, and insightful discussions, conversations, data about what not to do and making sage decisions for the future, and really authentic and raw conversations and journeys that you've journaled in your books. So the world is truly a better place for having you in it. What is coming up next? What's your next book about?
Wow, so thank you. Lots on the horizon, but I will let you follow me and get there. But I am as Markey Writing Academy. The next book is Beacon of Hope, Catalyst for Change and Building a Better World. So that's an anthology. So I'm inviting global change makers from around the world to, bring their lived experience to the table and make a tangible difference to the world. So that book will be launched in Canada next year. So again, bringing that tapestry of hope and giving people insight, no matter what the circumstances are, we can still make a difference and we can still forge ahead despite how bleak life may look.
So the vision and the goals and the mission that you have for the Beacon of Hope mission is to encourage other people to not obviously think about the path of suicide, but to give them hope, to say that there's always something better around the corner?
Absolutely. And also, with where we are at in terms of mental health globally, to advocate for better opportunities to help with mental health and just social change in general for disabilities, suicide, and it's been amazing. The next event, which we have coming up in New York on the 31st of August, we've got some amazing global organizations and CEOs that are behind us that are helping us champion Beacon of Hope and social change.
How important is getting this foundation off the ground?
It's crucial for me. So I was featured on an international podcast where the host introduced me, and he talked about my last conversation with my brother, and I just, emotionally broke down. And when I look at it and introspect, it's because I feel like I'm never going to get him back, but I want to use that to make the world a better place. And if I can save someone else from going through that, or another family to experience the aftermath, then it's worth it.
Absolutely. A life saved, it's all about getting to that single human being, that life, and really touching their soul to make them know how truly loved they are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, now let's end this on a lighter note. What are some tips and advice you can give to our audience who are looking to either become writers or authors or even publishers?
Yes, look, I would say be authentic. You need to speak from the heart and, sit down and just write what's in your heart and let people in. Do not focus on that generic flow. Keep it authentic and it will go a long way.
Sage advice. Kelly, it's been wonderful having you in our studio, and I can't wait to read your next book. I can't wait to hear all about New York and the big launch that's going to happen. And I definitely can't wait to have some of your other books to read as well, particularly The Life of Joandra. I'm really, really keen to start reading that one. And thank you for being such an amazing author.
Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here. And I look forward to signing a few books for you.
Yes, I'd love you to. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Well, that was Kelly Marky, the incredible author of many books, as you've just witnessed. And if you'd like to listen to Kelly Marky or know more about her life, you can jump online and look up Kelly Marky and you will find loads of information about her. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Exchange on CYC.